Hello and welcome to another adventure of Amiga Retro. I wasn't going to make a video about this, but I thought it may not hurt to show you how it is done with the right equipment, of course. As you can see, I've been removing the not so great high quality Commodore plastic SIMM sockets, which have a tendency to break, such as, not that one. One moment. There we go. See if I can get this to focus on that. So the retainer clip is right there for the one side of the SIMM socket, and these are what tend to break. Like over here, there's that big gap there. It's missing. Of course, it doesn't hold the SIMM in any longer, the 72-pin SIMMs that these use. So I figured, since I bought 5 of these, I may or may not use all of them. I may not replace the chip mem socket here. The way these boards are, the back one here is for the 2 megabytes of chip, and it has to be double-sided, basically double-sided SIMM, so, and there was chips on both sides. These all have to be single, but you have bank 0, which starts here, bank 0, 1, 2, and 3, which are for the 4 megabyte SIMM modules, and they have to be single-sided, like I said. So bank 0 to 3, single-sided, and double-sided for the chip RAM socket. So I hopefully can leave this one in place, because that one actually clips in and locks in fine. The reason why I decided to replace all the other ones instead of just the first one here at bank 3 that was broken is you have to actually trim these off anyways to fit the new sockets in, because they kind of overhang a bit. Well, not these so much. Sorry, get that in frame. Not these sockets so much, but there's an edge here that comes out a bit further than the clip, and it interferes with putting these into the boards. So I'll get all those out, and maybe I'll try to trim the back one here so I don't have to remove it. But if it does break for some reason, I have 5 of these, so I do have one I can swap in there if I have to. But I wanted to show you how fun this is. It comes out kind of okay, but there is a lot of work involved. So as you can see, I have my equipment over here. So this is the desoldering station, so the vacuum-driven solder sucker, and this here is the solder station. You have to actually solder this first, these connections on the bottom. In other words, put fresh solder on them, so it makes it easier for the solder sucker to remove the solder on the pins. I did the first 2 off camera. Like I said, I wasn't going to redo a video on this, but I figured, well, since I'm actually having success and I'll complete this, I'll show you with one socket how it's done, and then I'll do the rest off camera, and then when I come back after that, I'll show you on how to solder everything back together again using the brand new sockets. And what's good about these sockets is they have metal clip. I'm sorry about getting such a frame. They have metal clips, as you can see, not plastic ones, so there'll be a nice solid connection, like the retainer, and they won't let go or break nearly as easily as these horrible things. Pretty much almost one-time use. Put your RAM in and never take it out again. Thank you, Commodore. Thank you very much. Oh well, but it saved money, right, for them, and created headaches for us. Okay, so I'm going to turn everything on. So first thing I'm going to do is the solder part. So I shall turn on my solder station. So basically it's a soldering iron, and which we might have to use from time to time, this is the hot air. Sometimes if all the pins don't come up, I'll gently heat this up after I use the desoldering station to get the rest of the socket out. So I'm setting this for, let me turn that wretched air freshener off. There we go. 375 degrees Celsius is what I'm going to set the, zoom in there, the soldering iron to. And I will turn over the board, which you can't see because you're focused in on that. Put this in a good location and focus in on the work down here. See how close I can get. Maybe, I don't know if I can get this over my shoulder or not. This is really, really awkward trying to get the camera and myself into the frame. So as you can see, the first 2 are done, and I just have hopefully the 2 more to go. And this is shifting a bit. 1 second. Oh, Okay, I don't have a lot of room to get in there, but I will be attempting to, my goodness, to solder this, and hopefully I won't get in your way. Excuse me. Oh, there's no room. I need a bigger apartment, but my rent is cheap, so I digress. And apparently I left my other pair of glasses. There we go. So we're at 375 degrees Celsius, that is, on the, my goodness, this broke off on the solder station. So hopefully you can see this. So I can get this out of the way. And now I'm going to clean off this. There we go, it's clean. Okay, here we go. So we will start soldering. This gives it fresh solder with flux to help the solder sucker do its thing. Of course, 72 pin SIMMs, you have 72 pins per socket to do. If I do all 5, that's 360 pins. Desoldering and soldering. So dwell time, couple of seconds. I can apply the solder to it. Each individual pin. This is very exciting. And that's it. That's all the pins. Let me try not to get my arm in the way. Probably is anyways. Okay, I'm going to turn off the soldering station for now. Whoop, I knew that was going to happen. So sorry. Let me correct. Okay. So, let me zoom out here. Oh, that's out. That's in. And over on the solder desucker, or sorry, the solder desucker, good one. The desoldering station, I will set the temperature to, I'll turn this on, and it's already preset to 400 degrees. So soldering iron at 375, and I find 400 works just fine. So I'll wait for that to come up to temperature, and then we will attempt to remove the solder cleanly on that. I'll wait for it to heat up and I will be right back. Okay, here, hopefully without camera hitting. Yeah, we're fine. So we're going to be doing that, that row right here. And I have the desoldering, a very close-up view of it. Yeah, you can't see it. Anyway, I don't want to zoom out. Let's get this done, shall we? It's always fun trying to film this stuff. So it's up to 400 degrees Celsius for this. So let's go. Here we go. Now when you do this, you also wiggle it back and forth to free up the wire and suck any other solder that might be on the other side. I usually let it sit for about 2 seconds before I engage the pump to heat everything up. And I will continue with all of these 72 pins. Oop. Looks good. Almost there. You always want to make sure that there's no solder that you should be able to see through here. If so, let's say, especially on ground planes where there's more heat, it's going to be required to be dissipated because of that will be absorbed because of all the copper that's in the ground plane, which this doesn't seem to be too bad. But let's say one of the pins didn't extract all the solder, you would just touch it up with a soldering iron, add a bit more solder, try it again. And don't do that too many times because you will end up destroying the pads. So discretion is advised. last one. I will turn off the device, the desoldering pump. Hang that up. Okay, then what I also like to do now is I want to make sure we're still in frame. You can still see my hand might get in the way here, but as you can see if I get a close up here without tripping over. See, tripping over everything. I have so little room. Okay, here we go. The area of interest is the third row up. Not sure how much zoom we're going to have here. As you can see, all the pins look like they're not connected to the walls. That one here might be oh, my hand got in the way. Come on, focus. Failure. It didn't focus. There we go. One of them might look a bit off. It's the third one. Let's see if I can find it here without getting my fat head in the way. This one here, maybe. But we'll take care of that if we need be. I don't think it's that bad. When you're looking straight down, it looks fine. So I'm going to try to move the camera back over here on the side again. And I will try to free up these pins as best I can. So I take a very small flathead screwdriver, like so. And I will... Oops, sorry about that. Ah, damn it. This is why I don't film this very often. It's dangerous. Why do you use the word film? This is all digital. It's like saying you tape something. Who uses tapes anymore for video? Okay, don't stop moving. Focus. The possessed camera. Come on, it's not that hard. Aha, success. Now, I will make sure that these are loose by wiggling them back and forth. And so far, so good. They might stick a bit. You can use a bit of force. It's not the end of the world. But any of that stick might be a bit of a problem. We can deal with that, with that by either resoldering it and then desoldering it, or by using the heat gun, which I prefer that method. Yeah, that one's stuck. That one's a bit stuck. That one's fine. Seem okay. Seems fine. That one's a bit stuck. These two seem to be a bit on the stuck side, and this one here, so keep that in mind. That one's a bit stubborn as well. Sometimes you can get them free. That one's not moving. I don't force it. You don't want to wreck the eyelet. So it's pretty loose on this side. Okay, I don't know. I might try to redo this fourth one here. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I touched up, 1 second here. This connection, and this connection, since they were hard to move. And now that I got my desoldering station to get unplugged, I will attempt this again. One, 2, and 3. Okay. Let's see if I have any kind of success. That's loose, that one's loose, and that one is loose. So everything seems good now, at least good enough. And now I will zoom out and try not to trip over the tripod again. And I always do the backwards. Do this backwards. Okay. So here I'm going to try to remove the socket, which is obviously this one. So let us get the camera into view here, or the area of interest, and see if I can get this off without wrecking anything. It seems to be, I gotta take my glasses off. So it seems to be a bit loose on this side, but not so much on that side. So, and I don't want to force it. You can gently try to pry up using the screwdriver. But if I encounter too much resistance, no. I don't want to wreck these traces. So the next trick is to use the hot air gun, which will make a bit of noise, of course. One moment, I'll get my arm in the way. Oh, there's no room, damn it. No room for this. 1 second. Must have air. 400 degrees, thereabouts. Any second now. 401 is close enough. Moderate airflow is fine. Waiting for it to come up to temperature. So this end has some play in it, so I'm gonna just lift up on this when I turn the board over, and it should, once I heat it up, it should pull off. Sorry about that, cord in the way. Are we still in frame? Yes, we are. Let me flip this. There we go. Now I can see better. Ah, there it is, the start of the show, the hot air gun. I'm at 401, it's 402, close enough to 400. Like I said, this edge, if I get my hand in here, has a bit of play in it. So I'll start on that end, and then we'll, geez, 1 second. Now I know why I don't do too many of these videos. It's craziness. Must get up into area of interest, which is over here actually. That's better. Okay, so I'm grabbing on the one end of the socket, and I'm gonna gently heat this up, which is this row here. Gently. Make sure you don't keep it in one spot. Oh, that came out quicker than I expected. And that's pretty much it. That one tab is holding it down. 1 second. Let me put this back here. And I gently, sorry about that, I gently pried on that, and this here is holding it up. That's it. And there we go. That is socket number 3 removed. And as you can see here, if I get into the view, there you go. Now we're only down to 2. Like I said, I plan on removing this one next, and hopefully I can leave the chip mem one in. And as you can see, the connections or the pads, I should say, are pretty good. I'll clean these up with isopropyl alcohol. Sorry for the excess movement. And then let me flip this back here. And then on the back here, where are we down? There we go. And I'll clean it up with isopropyl alcohol as well. So this is of course half the process. Once I get these removed, I have to put them in and then solder them. And I'll show you when I get to that stage. So I'm going to take this one off camera, see if I can modify this one so I don't have to remove it by just clipping the what gets in the way. I don't know if I can show this on camera. These here are just a bit too long. They'll actually hit the new connector, so you can try to snip these off, and hopefully it'll fit. If something horrible happens to the socket here that I want to do this to, I can just remove it, replace it as well. So I will do the rest off camera, and I will be right back. So these aren't soldered in, but as you can see, they're in place. And I also removed this one. Yes, how about that one right here? Now, with the other one I have, you'll see what I'm talking about. Oh, the tripod chronicles continues. There we go. If I try to mount this one in place, it won't fit because this gets in the way. There's an extra tab right here that sticks out. It's actually part of the whole piece, so I should be able to trim that off. If for some reason it breaks, I might as well replace it since I do have 5 of these. So yes, and I will try to trim this, and I will be right back. So as you can see, I was successful. I just used a pair of side cutters right there, and as you can see, as I pull that one out, not sure how much zoom. Yeah, I basically cut, let me use this as a pointer. I basically cut this piece here flush. It came out a bit further, I put a piece of paper underneath so it wouldn't scratch any of the traces, because there's a lot of traces in this area. So if the cutters, sorry about that, if the cutters slipped or whatnot, it wouldn't hack up the traces, which I don't want to do. But yeah, and that won't impact the because these are the holders here for the actual socket, these parts here, so that will not affect the retention. And I will show you right now. This is the double-sided. And you need to use double-sided for chip mem. Now you can have an 8 megabyte module. The Amiga's only going to use 2, one per side. So you don't have to find like a 2 megabyte double-sided SIMM, especially nowadays. It's almost impossible to find. I think this is an 8. I'm not sure. I have no idea. But unless I throw it into an accelerator card for my 1200 or a PC, which I don't have one that's this old that accepts 72-bit SIMMs. But anyways, enough blabbering. I will see if this fits in here, which it should. No problem. And you can hear that one clicks in, and it's firm. So I'm not going to replace that socket. I'll keep the other one as a spare. Sorry about that. Ideally, this one will always have to stay in. You're going to get a green screen. The Amiga won't boot because you don't even have chip ramps, so there's no memory available to the system at all. So like I said, double-sided for the chip mem socket, and in bank 0 to 3, ideally single-sided. So I'm going to solder these on. And once I get this in, and I'll show you how easily this goes back in. Put it in here. That's it. I just placed it with one hand. Amazing. So I'm gonna solder these on, and that'll be it. Like, I'm not going to change the socket. The socket actually holds the chip memory in securely. The other ones, the one broke, and the other 3, half the time never held in the memory modules. So I'm going to solder this, which will take me forever, and I will be right back. Well, after about, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes, I have the sockets actually soldered in. So if I put it over to here, zoom in a bit, as long as my focus doesn't go for a crap, which it probably will. Almost like my eyes. Not quite though. I think you can see it there. Now it has a bunch of flux on it, and I'll show you a trick. Now I've always used in the sprayer here isopropyl alcohol. It's not actually screen cleaner. Obviously, I put IPA in this isopropyl alcohol, 90%, and it is very good at removing flux. But all it really does is it removes the flux, but it smears it all over the board. Now there's a channel called Noel's Retro Lab, which I watch. I've actually subscribed to. It's all about 8-bit computers, basically Sinclair's, Amstrad, a few others thrown in there of the 8-bit era. Even though I don't own any of those, I'm not horribly interested in them. He has very good, well, there's a lot of stuff you can take away from what he does, and this is one of them. So even though it's not computer specific to my interest, it's still about computers, and some of the stuff he does is very good tips on anything else that would be involved. I will move this slightly. So what I shall do is I'll zoom out a bit. I will spray this first. And like I said, I've done this before, but if you just use the brush, let that soak in for a bit. All it's going to do is when you brush it, it's going to smear the flux like everywhere pretty much, and you have a sticky, tacky feel to the whole board. So the secret is you can use the brush by using, let's say, a cloth. In this case, I'm just using a microfiber cloth, but any kind of regular cloth is fine. And what it does, oh, sorry about that, it absorbs the flux you're trying to remove. Now, first thing I'm going to do is, just because there's a lot of flux residual, I'll use this initially to break it apart. Kind of back and forth motion. Are we seeing any of this brush action? Yes, we are. And then same idea, kind of go through this way. And it's breaking up the flux, but if I dry this off now, you're going to have this disgusting film that's left over on the board. And so I'm not going to try to go too far away from this. Oop, kind of move to the thing here. I'm just going to put this here and then use the brush on top to absorb all of the alcohol, which is going to be full of the flux, and hopefully it'll pick up most of it. It does a really good job. it will actually absorb, the microfiber cloth will, so you have to have like obviously an absorbent cloth. I wouldn't recommend paper towel, it'll rip to shreds, but a cloth is relatively absorbent and it'll absorb the alcohol and, oops, and the, whatchamacallit, flux. So let's see how well this turns out, shall we? One more like this, and so, peel it off. That looks not bad. I just have to go over it again, but as you can see, it cleaned up really well. As I zoom around there. The focus failure. I love technology. There we go. But I'm going to clean up a bit more, but as you can see, it did a pretty good job, and when I run it's not tacky at all. If I didn't use the cloth to absorb it, it would be very sticky and gross. So I will finish doing this. That's a good trick if you want to use it. And when I come back, we'll see if these sockets actually work. Yes, the moment of truth. So, as you can see, it's been cleaned up. It's not tacky to the touch. It actually has some of the original shine to it from the original motherboard laminate stuff material that they put on this. And like I said, now it's the moment of truth. I will throw this together to get it operational, and we shall see what happens. So I will attempt to put sockets in here, memory modules into the sockets. So first with the chip RAM, which will go in relatively easy since it's the first one. I already cleaned these sockets, that's backwards. I already cleaned these sockets already. You hear that one snaps in, it's secure. So I don't have to replace that one. Oh, my arm, sorry. I grabbed too much crap off of there. Sorry about that. I will now attempt to insert these 4 meg memory modules into the new SIMM holders, which you have to, there we go. SIMM sockets, I should say. Try that one more time, I guess. Make sure it's seated. There's one. And soon to be 2. So there's 4 megabytes. Since they're 4 megabytes SIMMs. I like that. It actually clips in and it's held firmly. Just to let you know that these are 22-degree sockets. So not 45, not 90, obviously they would stand straight up. These are the 22-degree sockets. So if you ever need to order these, which I got these from Moser or DigiKey, I cannot remember, that's what they are. They're 22-degree sockets. What am I doing here? I don't know. Okay. There's another one. It's kind of nice. Metal clips clip right in. They do a fine job. So I will put this on there. There we go. They're all secure. Everything is nice and neat. Now I'll just have to throw on the 040 accelerator card. The, what is this thing called again? Yeah, the 3640, I believe. I'm looking for it. Yes, the 3640. And I will install that into the CPU socket right there and hook everything up. See if it boots. See if we have the memory showing on Workbench, and then do a quick memory test to see if success has been had. I should get 16 gigs, yeah, really, 16 megabytes of fast, and whatever it takes, you know, a bit less than that, obviously, because of boot up and fast ROM and whatever, and then 2 megs of chip, obviously. Okay, I will hook everything up and I will return. And I have returned. I have the accelerator card, well, the 040 installed, memory obviously, and the floppy, and the power supply with the Amiga Kit Special that lets you use a regular AT power supply to function on this device, if I know what I was talking about. Anyways, so let us see what happens when I turn this on. Hopefully something. Here goes nothing. Did I do something wrong here? I don't know. There appears to be a white screen. I don't have the hard drive plugged in properly. The compact flash adapter is not seated correctly. One moment, please. So, now that I actually had the IDE interface plugged in backwards, that doesn't help any, but luckily it's forgiving, because the power at least was correct. But yeah, basically this was flipped the wrong way, so pin 1 was actually connected to pin 40. So, oops, my fault. Mistakes have been made, but nothing died horribly. So let us see if this thing boots up or not. And if we have 16 megabytes of RAM, I think it's closer to, like, I don't know, 12 by the time it gets used up for other resources. So here we go. It's powered on. And it is up and running, and we have, oh my, we have a whopping 6.5. Yes, that's not good. So some of the memory is not being recognized. This is kind of why I hesitated doing this in the first place, because this board is victim of the wretched capacitor leakage. So I am not sure if I disturbed something that was making barely contact of goodness, if that makes any sense. Well, let us troubleshoot this anomaly, shall we? Because, I mean, the sockets look nice. Look at that. Beautiful, but it would be nice if it actually worked, right? So what I'm going to do is, by the looks of it, you have to populate the memory in bank, well, this is the chip RAM, bank 0, 1, 2, 3, in that sequence. So it's basically telling me that these first two are working, the last two are not. So let me turn off the power and pop those out, and let's see what happens. Turn off the power right now. I will release the clips carefully, methodically, maybe not. There we go. Hopefully I'm not in the way too much. Okay, so those first two have been removed, and let's see what happens here. If I can get this camera to behave. I'm gonna turn this on. Booting. And as you can see, there's our 6.5. So these first two, bank 0, bank 1 are being seen. Fortunately, the other two banks are not. So I have disturbed something, and the gods were not pleased, apparently. So let's do some troubleshooting, shall we? Turn this off so there's no power, so I don't destroy anything any further. And we will get this to eventually not focus. Yeah, that's working out well, isn't it? No focus for you. Oh, of course, now it's focusing. Okay, what we can do here is zoom this out. You see those traces here? Of course, they run underneath the socket. They basically run from all the SIMMs, so we know it's good to here. So there has to be a connection from here to the first socket, and I'll test this because nothing from here that way is working. The good thing is I can ohm this out, in other words, use the continuity tester by running along either the SIMM pins or ideally the SIMM socket, sorry about that, the SIMM socket itself. So let's, I'm going to put this back on the tripod and I'll see which connection's broken, and hopefully I can fix it underneath the board. Yes, this is the problem when dealing with ancient, archaic, slightly corroded equipment and all that fun stuff. So I'm going to try to get the multimeter in view here. And I do have the power off, so I'm not going to fry anything, I hope. But my luck of late, you never know. You never, no? I guess it was better over here, wasn't it? Move these memory modules out of my face. Put this closer to where you can see it. Okay, and maybe a bit more right there. And I don't have much room, once again, to work. It's kind of awkward, actually. Whoa. More awkward than I want it to be. This attempt has failed. I need to sit on the other side of this tripod. That's not going to happen. Oh my. Well, I'll do it from over here. The things I do, I tell you. Okay, first of all, it is beeping, so that means it needs work at least. Oh, sorry, my foot. Okay, here we go. Now, I'm going to test from, let me take out this one here as well, because we know everything works from here to there. So let me remove this one gently. Okay. So the first pin is here. Success. 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 The second pin is here. Works. Look at this, there's nothing there. And obviously if there's nothing there, there's going to be nothing on the second one either. So the break is on the second the second pin of this socket, which I can ohm out on the other side to make sure what is what. So that is our problem, is that the only broken wire. And it's weird because the most corroded part, I don't think you can see it too well in the camera. Let me once again take it off the tripod. The most corroded looking part is, you can get this out of here, and the strap. Yeah, you can't really see it from there, can you? It's because of the glare. This is not easy. Oh, the tripod again, sorry. Yeah, you can see the discoloration of these in here. So you think that maybe this socket shouldn't work, because those look fine, right? But apparently not. So I'm going to ohm out the other ones, and if it's just that one, I'll run a bodge wire, I guess, and we'll see what happens. I shall be back. Okay, before I do the bodge wire, I just want to show you one more time where on the bottom of the board the issue is. Beep. Okay, once again I have to get on this side so I don't get my fat head in the way. So pin 2, or whatever it is actually, is right here. So we got that connection there. But then from here to here, we've got nothing. And then from here to here, oops, sorry, this one. So the break is between these two. I noticed there's an anomaly here with the copper trace, but it's not broken because that goes to here. Come on. So that's fine. So that's not broken. That little piece that you see there, which you can barely see on the camera, is kind of shiny. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a wire. I ohmed out the rest, at least most of them. I think they're okay. I'm going to run a wire from here to there, or I can even run it from here to that pad, but this is a corroded area as well. I'm going to leave that well enough alone. So I'm going to run a bodge wire from here to here, and it should ohm out. So I will do that, and I will return. I have put the bodge wire between the, I guess that'd be bank 2 and bank 1, that being bank 0, and not the chip RAM, whatever. You can't see where my finger is because it's out of frame, but anyway. The break was between bank 2 and bank 1. So I'm going to flip the board over and see if we get conductivity on pin number 2. I shall return. So I've returned with the board obviously flipped upright and connected, ready to go. Obviously no power attached to it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to try pin 2 to see if we get continuity from all slots. Pin 2, you'll hear it. There's that. That we knew worked before. Now this one. There we go. Now we have conductivity, and I think pin 3 should work as well all the way down the line. Now I didn't jumper that one, didn't need to. I just want to double check that everything seems to be working. Okay, so now we shall fire it up again and see if we get all our memory. We shall find out. I will be right back. Okay, we're pointing at the glossy monitor and the focus is having a fit, but that happens. Let me get this, that should be fine. Well, everything looks like it's hooked up properly this time, and I don't have the memory in the sockets. Oops, I'll be right back. Okay, let's try that again. As you can see, I put the memory in the sockets, and it's of course blurry because this camera just doesn't know what to do with itself. That's better. And now we shall go back to the screen. Let's keep our fingers crossed, see if that was the only broken trace. We shall find out. Hopefully no blue smoke, as they say. Well, it's booting. And we have, oh, I saw that briefly. There we go. Our memory. We have all of our memory, and I have no mouse hooked up to this. Oh well, once again, I shall return. Okay, now I actually have a mouse. Isn't that nice? Now I can actually do some kind of user input. So that's good. It looks like we have all our memory, because remember this, I have fast ROM enabled and a few other things, so it's going to of course take a meg or so, I guess, of memory. Let's go to System, get my junk out of the way. Utilities? Nope. It's, I always go to the wrong one. It's Tools, I believe. Yes. Show config. There we go. So there's our 16 right there. And a 2 mega chip, 16 of fast. Excellent. So that bodge wire fixed it. Yeah, that's the problem with old computers. You disturb them and they don't like it very much, but we prevailed. So I'm going to do a quick memory test and I will show you the results. And as you can see, I ran it more than once, so here we are 4 times. No errors, everything's good. So hopefully this installation of these fine SIMM sockets that you can actually take the memory modules out and put back in again without breaking them, stays functional. When I got this board, it was fixed from the dreaded battery corrosion. That's why you see the coin cell here with the diode, so it doesn't charge when the thing's on, whatever. And I've had to repair it since then because some stuff has slowly went for a crap because of the traces. And this was another case of you disturb these things and they don't like it very much at all. But that's it. But that shows you the equipment you'll need to remove these sockets and then replace them. And now we have a more robust and reusable solution for this Amiga 4000. And as always, thanks for watching.